The village of Black Hollow had a secret, a dark, silent secret. No one screamed in Black Hollow. No one dared. It had been this way for centuries, ever since the night of the first scream. The legend spoke of a woman named Eleanor Gray. She lived on the outskirts of town, in a decaying manor perched above the hollow. A lonely widow, a grieving mother. Her child had died suddenly. Some said illness took him. Others whispered of something worse, something unnatural. One stormy night, her sorrow erupted. A scream tore through the village, splitting the air like a knife. It carried through the trees, through the hills, through the bones of every soul who heard it. Then, the hollow changed. People vanished. Strange whispers filled the air. Shadows stretched where no light should be. The wind no longer howled through the trees. Even the birds refused to sing. From that night on, silence became law. A whispered rule passed from one generation to the next. No shouting, no crying, no screaming. Because something was listening, something that waited. Emma Holloway had never feared ghost stories. She chased them, exposed them. As a journalist, she lived for uncovering the truth. Superstition did not scare her. Lies did not stop her. When she first heard of Black Hollow, she dismissed the stories. Just another rural legend. Just another tale spun by fear. But the story of the first scream intrigued her. She arrived under the guise of a historian. The old innkeeper barely looked at her as he handed over the key. The silence was suffocating. Even the inn's wooden floors didn't creak under her steps. No birds outside. No idle chatter from guests. Just quiet, thick as fog. No one spoke above a whisper. Even laughter was hushed. The village had an air of suffocation, like a place holding its breath. Emma asked questions. People hesitated to answer. Their eyes darted to the shadows. Their voices trembled. She learned about the disappearances. Every decade, on the anniversary of Eleanor's scream, someone went missing. No body, no struggle, just gone. The anniversary was in 2 nights. Determined, Emma set her sights on the Gray Manor. The path was overgrown. Vines strangled the iron gates. The house loomed ahead, dark and skeletal. The sky churned with storm clouds. Thunder growled in the distance. A sudden gust of wind rustled the dead leaves at her feet. The manor exhaled a low, hollow creak, as if it knew she had come. The front door groaned as she pushed it open. The scent of dust and rot invaded her senses. The house had been abandoned for years, but something about it felt alive. She stepped inside. Floorboards groaned beneath her feet. The walls were lined with old portraits. The faces were faded, distorted, watching. Then she heard it. A whisper. Soft. Faint. Right beside her ear. Emma froze. The air was thick, heavy. She swallowed hard, forcing herself to move. Then, another sound. A giggle. A child's giggle. Her flashlight beam sliced through the dark. Empty. Her heart pounded. The manor had been abandoned for years, hadn't it? She pressed forward, deeper into the house. Her breath was loud in the silence. Dust floated like ghosts in the beam of her flashlight. Then she saw it. A journal. It lay on a dresser, bound in cracked leather. The name scrawled on the cover, Eleanor Gray. Hands trembling, Emma opened it. The pages were brittle, the ink smudged. She read, "They took my baby. The hollow took him. I heard him cry, and then he was gone. They do not believe me. They say grief poisons my mind. But I know the truth. The hollow listens. When it hears grief, it takes. It took my child. So I screamed. I screamed so the hollow would hear my pain. And now, it will never be silent again." A chill wrapped around Emma's spine. She exhaled sharply, closing the book. Then, the whisper returned. "Help me. burst from the manor just as the storm broke. Rain slashed across her skin. The village lay before her, silent, watching. Then she realized she had screamed. The villagers had warned her, had begged her. Now it was too late. A new scream rose in the night, not of grief, but of something waking, something free. Black Hollow would never be silent again. The village was no longer quiet. The echoes of the scream rippled through the hollow, a sound that had not been heard in generations. Windows slammed shut. Candles flickered and died. The wind, once mute, howled through the streets. Emma stumbled forward, her breath ragged. She turned back to the manor. The front door stood open, but the darkness beyond it was no longer empty. A shape moved, not human. The shadows stretched, swirling like liquid ink. Something had awoken, something that had been waiting for the scream to return. Emma turned and ran toward the inn. She needed answers. The villagers knew something. They had been waiting for this moment. She reached the door and pounded against it. It swung open before she could knock a second time. The innkeeper stood there, his face pale, his eyes sunken, filled with something between fear and resignation. "You shouldn't have come here," he whispered. Emma shoved her way inside. "What is it? What's in the hollow?" The innkeeper closed the door behind her, bolted it. Then he turned to face her, his voice shaking. "You let it hear you." The inn's dim candlelight flickered, casting trembling shadows on the walls. The villagers outside moved quickly, bolting their doors, sealing their windows. Emma could feel it. The air had changed. The hollow was alive. The innkeeper sat heavily in a chair, rubbing his temples. "You don't understand what you've done." Emma leaned forward, gripping the table. "Then explain it to me. What is the hollow? What did Eleanor awaken?" His eyes darkened. She didn't awaken it. She created it. A hush fell between them. Outside, something scratched at the window. A breath. Ragged. Waiting. Emma swallowed hard. Whatever had been sleeping in Black Hollow was now fully awake, and it was hungry. The air was thick with tension. Outside, the hollow seemed to breathe, heavy and suffocating. The innkeeper's voice was low, his hands trembling as he adjusted the flickering candle. "They are always watching," he whispered, glancing nervously toward the windows. "You can't see them, but they're there, waiting." Emma turned sharply, heart racing. "Who are they?" "The hollow," he continued, his voice slow. "It's not just the land that's alive, it's the people too, those who heard the scream. They become watchers," Emma finished. The innkeeper nodded slowly. When Eleanor screamed, it wasn't just grief that called something. It was a pact. A terrible deal with the hollow. She didn't awaken it, she became part of it. Emma felt a chill. What pact? What do the Watchers have to do with this? The Watchers are souls who never left. They stay, bound by the scream. And every year, they choose someone to join them. Emma's blood ran cold. The disappearances, they're taken, changed, lost to the world. The innkeeper nodded again. The hollow feeds on grief. It grows stronger with every lost soul. A sharp knock on the door broke the conversation. The innkeeper jumped, but before he could reach the door, it creaked open on its own. A figure stood there, a watcher. It was a pale, hollow-eyed figure. Its lips cracked in a twisted, silent scream. Emma stepped back, heart pounding. "No," the innkeeper whispered. The watcher stepped inside, its shadowy form swirling like liquid ink. The air grew colder. The walls seemed to shrink. "What does it want?" Emma asked, breath shallow. The watcher didn't answer, but moved closer, hands reaching toward her, skeletal claws. The air felt suffocating. Emma grabbed the nearest chair and swung it at the figure, But it didn't recoil. It simply reassembled, faster than she could comprehend. Why me? Emma demanded. What does the hollow want? The watcher tilted its head. Then, with a violent snap, it split open, revealing a dark void. A low growl echoed from within. The innkeeper stumbled back. It's too late. The hollow has chosen you. Emma's mind raced. The watcher wasn't just a figure, it was the hollow's power made flesh. The cold air pressed against her chest like an invisible weight. The watcher moved, slow and deliberate, and she knew it was coming for her. She grabbed a wooden chair and swung it, but the watcher didn't flinch. It reassembled instantly. Emma's heart pounded in her chest. Help me, a voice whispered in her mind. It was the same whisper she'd heard in the manor. Her blood froze. The watcher's cold hands reached for her, the room closing in, suffocating. But Emma fought back, refusing to fall into the same trap Eleanor had. She couldn't scream, not again. Help me, the voice whispered, growing louder. Emma turned to face the watcher, her hands trembling. She couldn't let herself scream, couldn't give in to the pressure. Not like Eleanor, but her breath hitched, the pressure building as her chest tightened. No, Emma whispered, shaking her head. Not again. The watcher's form flickered. Its body trembled as if something was pulling it apart. Then, with a sharp, horrific scream, it vanished into darkness. Emma stood alone, gasping for breath. The innkeeper was gone, likely taken by the hollow. The world outside was silent again, suffocating. She looked down at the journal, the truth clear now. Eleanor hadn't just screamed in grief, she had screamed